Welcome back to the Cute Developer. Today let's make a tic-tac-toe game in the terminal. This is what it'll look like. Put X, position 1. Go ahead and put O at position 5. Then I'll put X at position 8. Then I'll put O at position 7. Then I have to block it, so I'll go to 3 for X. Then O, how about we put O at position 6. Now I have to block it at 4. And then 9. And then position 2. Oh, I missed it. Look at that. Player X wins. So the win works. Now let's go ahead and try to draw. 1. Then O. Let's put O at position 2. Then X at position 3. Then O at position 5. X at position 8. O at position 4. X at position 6. O at position 9. And then X at position 7. It's a draw. Great. So now let's take a look at the code. Now let's go ahead and dive into the code. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is I need to make a few includes. So include IOStream because I need to be able to output to the screen. The next thing I'll actually include is a vector. This will be used to store all our information. And now I need to make a few function prototypes. I need to display the board. So display board. And in here, I'm going to pass a constant std vector. And the vector will be of type character. And I'll also pass the reference to the board. Next, I'm going to need to get a player. And the player, well actually the player move I should say, that would be better. I will then have a character of the current player. Next up, I need to check if it's a win or if it's a draw. And that'll return a boolean. Check win. Now check win, I can go ahead and do a copy here. So I want to copy the vector board, but I also want to pass a player, and the player will be the character. The next thing, I want to check the draw. I can go ahead and copy this, and the draw doesn't necessarily need the player, it just needs to check the board. And instead of check win, draw. Terrific. I'll then need to create my main. I don't need to pass in any parameters. And I just like to return something so we can compile later. Compile and test along the way. So, I think it's important now that I actually create the board. And the board will be a vector. It'll be a vector of characters. And that vector of characters, as we call it the board, that will equal, semicolon, that will equal 1 through 9. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. Now I have the board. I'll then select the current player, and the current player will be defaulted to X. I then want to set the game over state to false. Bool, game over, and that will equal to false. And the reason why I do that is because I need to run a loop. The loop will simply be a while statement, or a while loop, and it will go ahead and check the board, continue playing until it's either a draw or a win. Whoops. And game over, not game over, and then let's see. Well, I think now I'm doing this on Linux. So on Linux, I want to clear. So whenever the game starts, let's clear the screen. Then I want to display the board. And I need to pass the board. And we need to pass the board because of this. See, our display board. Before I can continue, I think now I need to actually write something for the board. So let's go down here. Whoops. Function definitions. So let's see. That's void display board, and the board needs to have that constant vector. So I'll just go ahead and copy this. There. I'll move things up a little bit. So here's our board. Now in here, I need to have a series of couts, and I could probably do this fairly quickly. Let's see. This way I don't have to keep coming back. Now in here, I want to have the tic-tac-toe. Tic, tac, whoops, tac, toe. Beautiful. Then I'll have an end line. The next one, I'll have a bunch of dashes. And here, I'll have an end line. Next up, well, so the next one is I need to set the actual board and the grid. So I'll set the top three for 0, 1, and 2. So it'll say, whoops, board 0, then it'll be board 1, and I can go ahead and copy this, speed that up, and board 2. Now this isn't made yet, the board, or is it? It is made right there. Oh, confused myself. Had an extra one of these. There we go. Okay. So now I can do the same thing with 3, 4, 5. And then the same thing, 6, 7, and 8. I did forget something here, which is I want this line. Oops. There. So after each one of these, I need to add the separation line. And I'll add a separation line here. Terrific. So now that I have my board that's being displayed, now let's go ahead and implement the player move. So I'm just going to copy this. I think sometimes you get to be a little more efficient with a little practice. So in here, first thing is I want to return the move. The move is going to be an integer. I then want to ask, well, state what the current player is. So player, current player, enter your move. 1, 2, 9. There we go. Then I need to do a CN. And that will be the move. Oh, I always make a mistake on those little insertion and extraction operators. Here's for C out, and here's for C in. Okay, so now I can get the player's move. So I might as well go ahead and implement to check the winner. So I will copy that, check for win, and for here, well, this is going to be a little trickier. I need to look at the rows and the columns. So for this, the rows, let's go ahead and say I is going to equal 0. I is going to be less than 3, and I'll increment I. While it's doing that, I need to make a check. If the board, I times 3 is equal to the player, and the board, I times 3 plus 1 is equal to the player, and the board, I times 3 plus 2 is equal to the player. Okay, just double checking this. Terrific. So now I need to check again. But this time, I need to check the columns. So now I can say if board I equals player and board I times 3 is equal to the player, and the board I times 6 is equal to the player, return true. Then I need to check the diagonals. So now I need to say if board 0 is equal to the player and board 4 is equal to the player and board 8 is equal to the player, or copy this. Now I just need to change 2, 4, 6. If that's true, return true. Otherwise, return false. Now this can be kind of confusing, so I like to put a little brace in there. Just in case it doesn't work, it's easy for me to look at. That's just a personal preference. It doesn't need it for the one line, but I like to put them in. And of course I forgot the little semicolon. So there's our check win. Well, there's still one more that I need to do. That is, check the draw. So I will copy this prototype and now create the definition. So in here, I now need to check all the cells. So, a character, cell, inside the board, the vector. Let's say if the cell is not equal to x and the cell is not equal to O, return false. Otherwise, return true. Terrific. So now that I have everything, let me go on up to the main, and now I can continue. So let's see, where did I leave off? Well, I left off creating the board. So now it's time to, well, get the player moves. So let's set the move equal to get player move, and I'll set the current player. Next, I'll create an index, and that'll equal to move minus 1. I then need to double check and validate the move. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to check this index. So the index is greater than or equal to 0, and the index is less than 9, and the board index, if that's not equal to x, and the board index is not equal to O, there we go. If this happens, well, then I'm going to set the board index to the current player. Board index is equal to player. Next I need to check for a win. So if the check win passed the board, and the current player, so if that happens, I then need to display the board. After I display the board, I then need to say, okay, well the player is the current player, and define that it actually wins. So I say player, and then current player wins. And I'm going to set the game over equal to true to exit the while loop. There it is. Nice. So now I have my check. The next thing I need to do is I need to have an if-else statement. So in here, so this is going to check for win. Why don't I go ahead and say check for winner. Else, check for draw. Whoops. Check draw. And then I just need to pass the board. Then I'll display the board again. I'll do this. Oh, I don't need to actually. It's a draw. And in here, game over equals true. I then need an else statement because I need to actually switch the player. So current player is equal to X otherwise O and I'll set it to X. So that concludes that one. Now I need another else statement. And this else is going to be, so if the user, let's see, if the user has an invalid move, please try again. There. Just in case they by accident, well, they pressed the wrong button. And this is in the wrong place. Here. There we go. CN. I will ignore. I will then CN dot get. And then I go ahead and return. And this is it. This is the Tic-Tac-Toe game, the console version. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave some comments. Let me know your thoughts. And happy coding.